I'm the Godless Engineer. If you don't know me from Facebook or wherever, I usually hang out on Facebook or on YouTube. Today I pissed off a lot of people by making a video response to Joshua Feuerstein. I know a lot of people don't like giving him the quote-unquote time of day, but considering that he's, not going anywhere anytime soon because his daddy writes him, weekly, checks to feed into Facebook, I figured it's probably a pretty good springboard to talk about since he's popular. But tonight we are talking with Joe of Skeptic Fence Show and LiveLife8072. And we're talking to him tonight about his religious background. Let's see, his religious background. What experiences he had while he was in the faith. And then what got him to start questioning that faith, and then how he eventually came out of it. And then we're going to go into some other things that he's currently doing right now, as well as the future. So let's just go ahead, jump right into it. Joe, how are you doing tonight?
Good, G, man. Thanks for having me on, man. I do appreciate it, man. I do appreciate the invite. And I guess we're going to have fun here tonight, man. You're going to ask me some questions, and it's going to be a good time, man. So I do appreciate it, and I appreciate your support for the Skeptic Fence Show.
Yeah. As soon as I get some money freed up, I'm planning on helping out various people on everywhere. So with as far as money goes and whatnot. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it. What's your what religion did you start off in? What was your religious progression, I guess?
Well, the journey for me wasn't too bad. I grew up in a household where my mother was, I guess you could say, a devout Catholic in a way, where when she grew up, I'll start with that, where she, how she grew up. My mother grew up as a very devout Catholic, and she was practicing to become a nun, one of those nuns that pray all the time at church. She would go to church every single day, nonstop, before school, after school, and she never really got to the fundamentalist stage of her religion. She grew up, and then she was going to become a nun, like I said, and she met my dad. They got married, so on and so forth. So what happened was she backed away a little bit from going to church every day after she met my dad. And she didn't, of course, she didn't become a nun, of course. She met my dad, and they got married. So I will say this. My father is a heathen. My dad is a heathen. He never went to church, never supported my mom, in going to church with her. He would only go to church, for funerals, weddings, stuff like that. And he's a heathen. There's no doubt in my mind. He does believe there's a God out there, but he doesn't believe in the religious God. That being said, my household when I grew up was, of course, Catholicism. I was born and raised a Catholic. I wasn't born a Catholic, but I was raised as a Catholic, I should say. And, I made my confirmation, my communion, all that stuff. And my mom never really, bashed us with the Bible. My parents never said we had to read Proverbs. We never had to read the Bible. We never had to study the Bible. My parents, or I should say my mother, never feared me into eternal damnation. She never said, if you don't do this, God's going to know and you're going to go to hell. None of that stuff, okay? I wasn't indoctrinated. The part where I became an atheist, questioned the faith, if you want to call that, I didn't have a strong faith whatsoever. What happened was when I became 21 years old, I questioned the Bible. I started getting, not religious, but I was questioning religion because I was looking at the world in a perspective where I seen religion doing so much damage. And I said, you know what? Let me look into this. Let me look into my faith, Christianity, and let me look into it. So what happened was I purchased the Bible at the age of 20, and I read it cover to cover, and I read it 3 or 4 times since then, and read it cover to cover. And I couldn't get through Deuteronomy, or I couldn't even really get through Deuteronomy, even though I read the whole book. I was just like, wow. Is this God that bad? Is he really that fucking evil? You know what I mean? That, gays should be stoned to death, or they should be killed and murdered, women commit adultery, that stuff. All that stuff we know in the Bible, especially the Old Testament. And I said, that's when I started questioning my faith. I'm like, this is all fucked up. So I got to the end of the book. It took me about 3 or 4 months. After that, I said, fuck it. I'm done. I'm an atheist. I looked into the atheist perspective, and I said, you know what, this is what I am. I don't believe a God uh, has ever existed, any God for that matter. I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm done with this shit. And at that time, I was living with my roommate Bill, and Bill was a really cool guy, down to earth guy, a guy, still one of my best friends. And he was rivet head in the industrial scene. We liked industrial music, stuff like that. I was DJ at a club for 15 years, and that's where I met him. And we moved in together. Really good guy, and he was an atheist. So after I read all the Bible, I questioned him. Hey, read the Bible? He's like, dude, I'm an atheist. So we went on that trip right there, that road, down that road, I should say. And we were talking about it a little bit. I said, yeah, fuck this shit. All the evil in the world, and religion contributes to a lot of the evil in the world. So I said, you know what, I'm done with it. And that's basically the gist of it, man. My road from religion to reason. It wasn't that bad for me. It wasn't that bad, and I understand there's people out there. Like I said, I was married to my ex-wife, and I seen how she raised her kids and how her parents raised her grandkids, or her kids, I should say, and they're just fucking evil fucking people, man. I just couldn't stand. I can't stand organized religion or religion in general. So hopefully
Yeah,
that answers your question.
yeah, it does. um, uh, it's odd. I don't know if you've watched any of my interviews before, other than with Coctopus, but um, I actually grew up or was raised in a Catholic household too. I even went to Catholic private school as well. We had to go like I believe it was every like Friday and every Sunday. We had mass that we had to go to. And did one thing that we did for the first communion or whatnot is my mom like took some ash or something and like drew a cross on my head and did this whole like ritual thing. I
That
don't.
didn't happen to me, but they do that on Ash Wednesday, I think, right? Ash was, yeah, I think it's Ash Wednesday. They do that on where they put the ashes cross on your head, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I went through all that. I mean, like I had to go to church every week when I was younger. There's no doubt I had to go to church. That's one thing my mom wanted us to do, is to go to church. And you know what? I didn't get into it, and I can see why these atheist billboards that come out that depict children that you don't have to believe in another imaginary friend, so on and so forth. I understand that, and I think they have the right to do so because. I mean, like the majority of kids, they don't want to go to church and sit in church. I sat through. I'm like, yeah, because I got to do it. I went to what's it called? What's the school you go to for when you're a Catholic? You go to the school. It's called Jesus Christ, what's the name of it?
Hell.
No, no, not that. It's called catechism. So I went to
Yeah.
catechism, and yeah, it's just basically an after school, after hours, after school class where you can go. And I had to do it once a week. But yeah, I didn't learn anything. You know what I mean? I just whatever, took my test, whatever I had to do, and just that's it. Made my confirmation communion, and it was all done. So, but I also want to add that when I became an atheist, I hid my atheism for many years. I hid my atheism from the age of 21, 22, all the way up to I believe it was around 31, 32. That's when I met my ex-wife. She was a devout fundamentalist, but at that time she deconverted. She was in the deconversion process. So that's after I met her parents and seeing how evil they were. They were pastors. They owned their own church, and they were pastors. And I just realized how evil organized religion really is. And after me and my wife separated, that's when I became an atheist activist. I was like, you know what, this is bullshit. And I can only thank her. Thank you. I thank you for making me an activist against this bullshit. So
Yeah. Well, for me personally, as far as me coming out of the faith, I've said this many times on the show, on this particular show, that I actually had a friend throw a No True Scotsman at me. He said that if you don't accept the Bible as the inerrant word of God, then you're not a real Christian. And so I was like, well, then I guess I'm not a real Christian. I guess I gotta look for answers elsewhere. And um, so that's what I did, and over the course of some years, I eventually came to the conclusion that I was an atheist. So, I mean, just like you, it did take me a pretty good while to finally, admit to it. What was there anything in particular that got you to really start speaking out, or I guess not hide your atheism anymore?
Well, yeah, like I said a minute or two ago, is it was my ex-wife. There's no doubt. Like
Oh,
I said, her parents were pastors in their own church, in their own church, and just the evil
that's right.
that out of their, I mean, just the words that came out of their mouth. I remember this one situation. I'll tell you a little story here on what happened. My ex-wife told her parents that, yeah, me and Joe are going to get married. We're going to get married, this and that, and we're just going to get, not elope, but we were going to do it through justice of peace. So we're like, okay. Well, her parents flipped out. Okay, flipped out. Her brothers. She has three brothers, four brothers. They didn't show up, and then her parents came over a week before we were going to get married, and her father got in my face, and I had my back against the counter near the sink, and I remember this vividly. And he said, "Let me tell you something, Joe." He goes, "How would you like?" And he was right in my face, pointing at my face. He goes, "How would you like if you had a daughter and she came to you and said she was going to marry a person like you?" I said, "Well, it's no issue. It's fine. I'm like, I believe in quality. I believe that if they love each other, love is love. I have no problem with that." He goes, "Well, let me ask you another question." He goes, "What happened if she was going to marry the devil? She was going to marry Satan. How would you feel?" I said, "You know what? You need to get the fuck out of my face and get the fuck out of our house right now." I said, "Get out of my face." And I'll remember that to the day I die, how evil this fucking religion is, Christianity.
Yeah.
Or it could be evil, I should say, how it can be evil. And that's just, I'll never forget that. And I said to her, I'm like, "You believe your fucking father asked me that? Your father claimed that I was the fucking devil, that I was Satan." I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And just remembering stuff like that, it just made me feel not angry, just pissed off, man. Just like, how can anybody treat another human being like that? And these religious people get away with it. We see it every day. We see it in the media every day. The oppression of fucking gay rights, or gays that want to get married, women's rights, reproductive rights. They fucking try to interfere in this fucking shit. It's bullshit. And this is what I combat, is this type of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sorry for missing your first explanation of
No,
that.
it's
I
okay.
was yeah okay because I've been monitoring the chat in
Oh
there.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Um, but wow, just being compared to the devil. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if he said it with a southern accent, but I can just imagine him being like, hey boy, how would you like it if your daughter was marrying the devil?"
Let me tell you there, Sonny. How would you like if your daughter was going to marry Satan? It's like what the fuck, dude? Seriously, it's amazing. I can only thank her parents and thank her that I got separated from her. I wasn't the greatest guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the greatest guy. People have make mistakes in their life, of course, and you got to own up to your mistakes. And that's the thing with religion. Fundamentalists out there, they're more evil than a secularist. They're more evil, and I'll tell you why. The reason why is, and I noticed this with my wife and her parents, is this: my ex-wife is like this concept of sin and forgiveness. And I've always said this in many videos. The concept of sin and forgiveness. They can fucking sin. It's okay. But guess what? They have this forgiveness. They don't have to take on their own personal responsibility for their fucking actions. And it's fucking bullshit. That is the one concept that is so fucking evil. And then the Christians get away with it. You see all these people get away with this bullshit. Oh well, God, I'll just repent. God will, God will forgive me. God will forgive me. But the one sin that's not fucking forgivable is denying the Holy fucking Spirit. In many religions, many denominations of Christianity. But guess what? Everything else, you can be forgiven. It's fucking sickening, man, that people don't take on their own personal responsibilities for their actions.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I can't stand when it comes to Christianity.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because it's like an immediate face palm for me whenever somebody tells me about this, God will judge, or God is this ultimate lawgiver, ultimate judge, or something like that, or whatever. Because it's like, no, he's not. How can you call it like justice or objective when all you have to do is pray and ask for forgiveness, and to you, you're really sincere about it. You're you're
Yeah.
you're completely sincere, but like. But of course, and I know this because I did it so many times when I was a Christian. I'd be like, oh dear God, I promise if you just let me get an A on this test, I will give up porn. I will. Kind of
Well, yeah.
thing.
Well, you look at the demographic of the people that watch the most porn. That demographic is Christianity. You look at the South. I mean, like they watch the most porn. But then again, that's a fucking sin. But hey, what the fuck? I need to jerk off. You know what I mean? So it's okay. I just go to church and ask God for forgiveness or Jesus, whatever the fuck they do nowadays. But you made a good point. I want to talk about the evil of religion, and this is why I do what I do, or I should say, why we do what we do, is what I fight against. And I've been watching a lot of topics lately and reading some articles, and a couple that just came out recently in the last day or two is Tony Perkins. Okay, he says that gays persecute Christians by making them view photos of gay people on Facebook. You don't have to look at these fucking photos, you jerk off, but you want to make it, you want to publicize this bullshit, this hatred against this fucking demographic. And you think it's okay. You think it's okay for human solidarity, unity. It's fucking not, dude. It's not. And then you have Huckabee. Huckabee. You know what his foreign policy is? What it's going to include? It's going to include that, well, if we don't fear God, nobody will fear us. Now think that out. He wants the world to fear America. Okay, a lot of people so far fear America, and that's the wrong aspect. That's the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? Like I said before, what happens in unity, solidarity, love, compassion, all that shit? They don't have any of this. These fucking fundamentalists, they don't have it. And then you got Klingenschmitt. Klingenschmitt, he warns the government will make Christians renounce Christ. He thinks our government, I should say, will make Christians renounce Christ in order to keep their jobs. I'm like, this is the fucking insanity we got to deal with on a daily basis with these fundamentalists. These types of people, I mean, like, seriously, these types of people that live in America don't understand the idea or why our country was founded to escape the Church of England, for one, and basically to create a secular society, equality, freedoms. That's what they came here to do. And what it boils down to is the fundamentalists want to create a totalitarian government. That's what they want to fucking create. But the funny thing about this, they claim that Barack Hussein Obama is trying to do the same fucking thing, which he's not. You know what I mean? But any rational or thinking person could think about this statement, think about it, and know it's the fundamentalists out there, the Christian fundamentalists, conservatives out there. They want to impose a totalitarian government on free society. That's what they fucking want to do. You know what I mean? Until they fucking realize that's what they're trying to do, and they know they're fucking trying to do that. It's us to combat these fucking assholes. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people really realize this, but like I don't know, Steven Anderson from New Mexico, he was the pastor that thinks that we can get rid of AIDS if we just killed all of the homosexuals in America.
I guess that includes Christians too, the fundamentalist Christians that are gay too, and that have AIDS. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
We put them all in an electrified fence with I forget that preacher's name. Yeah, let's put all the homosexuals in a fence that's electrified, has electric fence where we'll drop some food over them, and eventually they can't breathe and they're just gonna fucking die. It's fucking bullshit, dude. This is what we gotta fucking deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah,
it's insanity. It's fucking immoral to act like.
I completely agree. But going back to Steven Anderson, he, what he said was that, it's like it's not that Christians should be going out and stoning homosexuals. It's that the government needs to be executing homosexuals. So what that means is that since Christians don't need to be going out and killing homosexuals, and he thinks the government needs to, that means the secular or the non-Christian portion of the government needs to be the ones that are killing these homosexuals, right? Then would that not mean that he basically wants to force people that don't give a crap about the people he hates for whatever the fuck reason he hates them? He wants them to go out and start killing like the homosexuals for no reason at all. Like that just totally blew my mind.
No, it's you're seeing more of this now because of Adoma being overturned and shit like that. and Prop 8 and all that in California. That's why you're seeing all this shit, because now people are understanding, hey, listen, so it is about equality. It is about human rights. It is about civil rights. This is what it's about. It's about a demographic that is oppressed, and they deserve to, have the same love or the same rights as a heterosexual couple. That's what it fucking boils down to. And these fucking fundamentalists don't fucking care about that shit. They could care fucking less. It's all about their fucking Bible. It's about what their Bible states. Well, guess what? You bring up slavery to them. Well, we're not going to talk about that, are we now? No, of course, because it's immoral, and the fucking Bible condones it. It's like, come on,
Well,
think about what the fuck you're saying.
well, yeah, it always.
Good.
Sorry. Well, I was just gonna say that it really baffles me when they talk about how objective the morality in the Bible is, when like society has so obviously like went against the Bible and in order to change, and in doing that people have changed their interpretations of the Bible. They always want to act like it's always been the Bible. Like some Christian has had this novel idea, like a new revelation of Scripture or something like that, new interpretation that has said, oh yeah, we shouldn't be keeping people as property. we should go and fight a whole civil war over this.
Oh no, you're right. And what it boils down to, and we see this, we're a progressive society. The world is, for the most part, progressive. So what happens is you got these fundies that evolved their religion. Okay, they evolved their religion to fit society. That's what it boils down to. We see it currently. We've seen it when Abraham Lincoln was, back then, I should say, we seen that, we got rid of slavery and then we moved on, even though, the blacks are still an oppressed race. That's a fact. Okay. There's still racism out there. It's another hurdle we have to accomplish, but, what it boils down to is, religion, you know, it just evolves. It evolves with society. Like what's going to happen in 10 years or 5 years? What happened? Okay, what happened is the federal government is going to say it's okay. What you're going to see it. The Supreme Court's going to look at it this year in June, I think it is. And what's going to happen is all the states in the United States are going to, approve gay marriage. It's going to fucking happen. So after 5, 10 years of arguing, complaining, and trying to overturn all the shit, what happened is it's going to be accepted. What's going to happen? You're going to have your fundies that are like 67 years old die off, and you're going to have this new generation, our generation, and generation right after us. They're going to come in, and they're, more secular than, the elderly demographic, the hate-filled demographic for the most part. They're going to die off, and what's going to happen is it's going to be accepted. Nobody's going to talk about gay marriage anymore. They're not going to talk about the gays anymore, just like slavery. And that's what's going to happen. Religion progresses as society progresses. That's what's going to happen. And basically, what's going to eventually happen, we're never going to see this, is the Bible's going to be irrelevant in society. It's going to be irrelevant. You're not going to see any talking points on this shit. You're not going to have a Fox News. You're not going to have that shit. You might have another religion that's created. Who knows, like Scientology, but we'll see what happens.
Hopefully it's not as batshit insane as Scientology is, because
Mormonism.
yeah, because I mean I remember when Sam Harris actually said that it's like Mormonism is pretty much like is pretty much Christianity plus some really bad ideas, and it seems like Scientology is just a completely whole new pile of shit ideas.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Joseph Smith, wasn't he some kind of criminal or something like that?
Oh, totally.
David, yeah, David Fitzgerald's book, The Mormons, which is the Heretic's Guide of Western Religion. It's a really good series he's coming out with. It's his first book in that series. I got to give him a shout. He's a good friend of the show. He's been on the show 3 times, and he's a really good guy. And Now does a really good book too. But a question I had while I'm on this is I had somebody private message me and say, hey, listen, I'm questioning my faith, and they asked me a question. They didn't want to post it on the Skeptic Fence Show, even though they're friended on the show. They asked me, what books do you recommend to a Christian questioning their faith, which I thought was an excellent question. I said, well, I'll address that tonight, if you don't mind. And I said, well, if you're questioning, well, I didn't say this yet to them, but maybe they're watching. I don't know who it is, but I believe, and I looked into this, and I've read all these books, is if you're questioning your faith or God, I believe Bart Ehrman, his books are really fucking excellent, and he's been on the show also, Bart Ehrman. I had a good time interviewing him. Misquoting Jesus is a good book, and also Jesus Interrupted, very good books. And a new author out there in the last few years, David Fitzgerald, Now is a good book, and also The Mormons, like I just mentioned. He's coming out with Christianity, I think Islam soon too. He stated that on the last time we had him on the show. And I think if you want a good book on atheism, say, well, the religion of atheism, sarcasm there, by the way. Dr. Peter Boghossian, he's been on the show, and his book, A Manual for Creating Atheists, very good fucking book, very good. And I actually got the audio book on that also. And Christopher Hitchens, of course, everybody loves that fucking book. God is not great. So if you want to look into atheism, there are two books I recommend, and the other ones would be Question, Faith, or God. So good books, good
Yeah.
books.
I'm in the process of reading David Fitzgerald's Mormonism book, and I've read and or listened to Nailed several times in the past month because
It's
I'm huh
I said it's a good book. David's a
yeah.
really good author, and he's starting to take off. He's starting to take off, man. David's doing a good job. He's very respected in, I guess you could say, academic, skeptic community. He's really active, and he's a really great guy, man.
Oh yeah.
I,
I recently interviewed him, and he's he's pretty awesome to talk to in person, just to put it simply. Um, and but I've for everybody that's watching out there, because we got about 30 something people watching. Um, I'm running actually a series on my channel about whether or not Jesus existed, and so far the primary source for that has been David's Nailed book, and I really can't wait till he comes out with Christ Mything in Action,
that is
because
cool.
yeah, he's going to be discussing like arguments that aren't necessarily tied to the Bible or the profile that's in the Bible about Jesus and whatnot. So I'm pretty interested in that. Um,
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. I love David. He's a fucking excellent guy, man. Good
yeah.
dude. Good dude.
Um, but I would also suggest all of those books that Joe just suggested. I haven't read Boghossian's book, um, but I think I have read the others. I know God's Not Great. I've definitely read several times.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm like the best. I'm like seriously, if you want to know the truth about Scripture and the scriptures that we do have, uh, you know, uh, Bart Ehrman is definitely one of the guys you must read. It's definitely a must read. If you want to know the translations of the Bible, if you want to learn about the contradictions in the Bible, I'm like, this is the guy you want to go to. I'm like, he's been doing this shit for over 30 years, and he's one of the, I guess, a world renowned New Testament scholar. This guy is the shit. I'm like, he actually went to, I think it was Egypt, and he actually read, what's it, the book of, geez, what was it? What was the book that he just recently did a few years ago? He went there and read the scripture of, God damn, don't call me on this. I
Oh,
forget. I forget what it is.
you're talking about the Gospel of Judas.
Gospel of Judas. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, and he did there, and the guy knows how to read Aramaic. He knows how to read Coptic. I mean, like the guy knows his shit. He translated that shit. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. So if you want a good book on the Bible and how fucked up it really is, I recommend any Bart Ehrman's books, man. Guy's great. So
Well, I've actually got a request from a friend in the chat. The
sure.
Believing Brain by Michael Shermer has actually been suggested to me, and I'm going to be picking that up soon. And it's a book that's about like how people, derive their faiths, or why they have beliefs and whatnot. So I'm pretty interested in reading that book too. Um, but before we get into more Skeptic Fence and
Sure.
what you're currently doing right now, one question that I had was like, what's the dynamic that you notice, like in using because hindsight's 2020. What's the dynamic you notice between you being in the faith between like now being an atheist? Like, has your attitude changed, or has just in general,
Hey,
or
that's a great question. Actually, it's a really good question because I've been thinking about this a lot recently in the last 6 months on how I progressed. Okay, now if I want to say how I progressed from when I became an activist to now, I've either hit on that point. When I first started out as an activist on YouTube, which was around 2010, and I started my Live Life channel shortly after that. Is I was watching people like Grappling Ignorance, Meridian Frost, and of course Dark Matter, my buddy Dark Matter. I think he's here tonight still, and Coctopus Prime. Actually, those four guys were the guys. They're the four horsemen in my viewpoint. Where I watched all their videos when I first started out on YouTube, or before I even created the Live Life channel. And this is when I had was when I was married to my wife at the time. So I was watching these guys, this and that, and I learned a lot from these guys. These guys are a stepping stone, at least for me, into my activism, to make me want to create my own channel. So to you guys, love you guys. You guys fucking rock. Uh, that being said, and actually, Dark Matter, I'll give him a shout out. He's the one that really got me into animation. I made multiple animations on my LiveLife8072 channel, and working on a series right now. So that being said, thank you, Dark Matter. You inspired me to learn how to animate, so that was good. But yeah, these guys are special to me. These guys are the ones that made me want to create my Live Life 8072 channel, and I became good friends with these guys. And Coctopus Prime, he's my bud. We been friends for what 3.5 years now. So we did a lot of live shows, and he's one that got me into broadcasting live shows, and it's great. I had a fun time. But on to your point, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. But get to your point is when I first started out my YouTube channel, Live Life 8072, for about a year and a half, um, I I was a rookie. I was a rookie in my activism. There's no doubt. I made mistakes. There's no doubt. I'll admit that in my earlier videos, I made mistakes. And my first video, or at least first set of videos I did, was me. It's called "An Atheist Married to a Born Again Christian." It was about my life living with a Christian, a born again Christian, and that series took off. I mean, even Thunderfoot favored it like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, probably 4 years now. And that's where it took off. I seen all the nice people out there, secularists out there, atheists out there, and just it made me feel better about myself. So what happened is, of course, I made a lot of mistakes in my activism earlier on, but now I took a break, a year break now. It's been about a year now. I took a break and I said, you know what? But what I learned was this: I made mistakes. I am flawed. And you know what? It made me a better person to think about my mistakes that I did. And now, you know what? I take on my own personal responsibility of what I've done in the past in my activism. But now, Skeptic Fence Show is my baby now. It's my baby. I'm trying to make it better. I'm like, we went through our struggles and began with Skeptic Fence Show, but I think we're at a point right now where it's really fucking good. We're getting really great responses with the show. We're getting some incredible guests on the show in the last year, and it's going really good. I really love the progression of the show. And it's my baby right now. I love it. I love it. It's my heart of my activism right now is my show. So, and I love Coctopus Prime, TJ, Paul, and Drew. Those fucking guys fucking rock. Those guys.
Yeah.
Shit, so.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree. I think all four of you are just awesome on the show. Y'all have a really good chemistry going, and I think it really does make a very entertaining hour or more, however long people want to watch. Um, but so crap, there's one other thing.
There's one other thing.
Yeah, well, there was the dynamic. There's the dynamic between you. It'll come back to me. Let's talk about Skeptic Fence Show.
What, you want to talk about the dynamic of the show between all the hosts? Yeah, we could go on that.
Well, no, I was trying to get my thoughts together about that because I had a second question, but it's escaping me, so we can just move on.
Shit, you should write that shit down. Trust me.
Yeah, no.
Awesome. That's one thing I will say, and I'll go into my evolution as being, I guess you could call me a broadcaster or a host. Is I was a rookie back then, and I was going into all this stuff, and I was like, you write shit down, man. I'm like, I always fucking write shit down, man. It's like now, it's like before. I'm like, oh, I want to say something. I'm not saying anything negative about you, of course, but I'm just saying, it's just the evolution of being a broadcaster. It's like it's a pain in the ass, man. As you can tell, man, it is a pain in the ass sometimes because you get wrapped up in your emotions and what you want to say, and you're trying to listen to people, and it's just a fucking pain in the ass. But I got to the point now where I'm just like, you know what? I've read up on it, what I should be doing, or hopefully should be doing. I don't think I'm the greatest. I think I fucking suck at it, but I think I got a little bit better at it. Whatever. But it is what it is. So. But I love the show. It's awesome. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Uh, somebody saying GE, puff puff pass.
Oh well, that's been a thing recently on the Skeptic Fence Show for the last like couple months, I think now. So yeah, I'm like they all started this thing on the chat now, or in the chat, puff puff pass. And the one night, I think it was like probably like a month and a half ago, everybody was writing puff puff pass, and Cockpus was like, "Yeah, dude," he's like puffing on his fucking pipe and shit. I'm like, "Oh, this is fuck." And this was on the Skeptic Fence Show too. I thought it was fucking entertaining. It was fucking funny shit. So that's what I like about the show too. Is like we have our own little things that we say that everybody gets. So you got all these people that are familiar with the show, have been watching the show for a while, and we have these little things. Cockpus will say something about me that everybody will get. I'll say something to Cockpus, or Paul. We call Paul Grumpy Paul because he looks like Grumpy Cat. His mouth and shit like that. So it's like a lot of inside jokes on the show, and people like that. They like the entertainment when it comes to that kind of shit. So it's pretty cool, man. The show's fucking, I love it. So
Where are you hoping to go with the show? Like, as far as your plans for 2015 or whatnot, is it going to be more the same, weekly commentary kind of deal, or? Um...
Well, I mean, like, what I want to start, if you don't mind. Well, we can get in that if you want. I'm like, since we have 25 minutes left, you mind if I go into the evolution of the Skeptic Fan Show? Is that cool?
No, yeah. Good.
All right. Well, how the Skeptic Fence started out was that I started my activism, as LiveLife8072, made many videos, and after about a half a year, I said, it'd be pretty cool. I was like, I would like to do. I was watching the Young Turks back then. I was like, I would like to make a show about, criticizing religion and politics and stuff like that. And I want to create a show that would promote critical thinking. It didn't work too well in the beginning of the show because, like I said, I was inexperienced. I didn't know what to do. I didn't think segments would work. I didn't even think about segments or doing something that was funny and then serious. I didn't think about that. So I was just, had a couple hosts on. I had Dark Matter on back in the day, and we would just host or have guests on YouTube guests and just question them. And it wasn't that serious back then. We just basically just turn on a camera and, you're more organized. You have your guest on, you have the questions. So like back then I just turn on the camera and just, hey, come on in, let's talk about anything. And it's whatever. It was a rocky road in the beginning, but people liked it. It was pretty good. That was back in the blog TV days. And back then, Block TV days, I'm like, you would have 2, 3, 4, 500 people a night. It was just really popular back then, Block TV, and E Prime was actually one of my first followers, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He's here right now tonight. That's why I just seen his name. But yeah, back then, it was a rocky road, and I started out with one host, forget his name. That didn't work too well. It only lasted about 6 months. And then Negation of P hopped on board with me, and then we organized the show a little bit more. And then we had Matthew Steele come on for season 2, and in the early season 3. And then that was more organized. We talked about topics. We had topics. We did our research, stuff like that. And Negation of P and Matthew Steele were really good on research. And that bottomed out. And that drama was drama. Yeah, I cut the drama right away. I didn't want drama on the show, and I cut it right away. One of those hosts got pissed off because I drank a beer on fucking live camera. I said, whatever. So I cut them both, and that's when I brought Octopus Prime on. And, we invented the Cuda Report. It was a great segment. People fucking love it. They fell in fucking love with it. And then things start coming together. So I kicked back a little bit. I want to think about what I wanted to do with the show. So I came up with Skeptic of the Week and then in the new segment. And then we went from there in the late of season 3. And it just took off. And then the guest segment, of course, I came up with. And I said, you know what? Let me see if I get some popular guests like, Lawrence Krauss, David Silverman, Bart Ehrman, all those guys in season 3 last year. So I said, fuck it. Let me do this. So I reached out to these people, and they were fucking willing to come on the show. I'm like, well, this is fucking great. I was like, I can't believe I'm going to have fucking Lawrence Krauss on the fucking show. He was like my first popular fucking guest. So we're all nervous as shit, dude, interviewing Lawrence Krauss. We're like, oh, we're having meetings, production meetings, and we're fucking like, going over all this fucking shit. And we're like, hey, dude, let's ask this question, you asked this. And it was really good. So I liked the idea that we like got together for production meetings. So after Lawrence Krauss, we're like, okay, for now we're going to do production meetings. And they work fucking excellent. Production meetings. We get together for like a half an hour each week before the show, and it works great. And we went from there. We had some great guests, and then we brought on Grumpy Cat Paul. So Paul came aboard early this year, or early in 2014. I think it was March, and then Drew came on in April, a month after. So I brought Paul in. Paul was a great guy. We got together. I was looking for a new host with me and TJ, so I put out a promotion. He hit me up. He read the promo. He's like, hey, "Listen, I'm willing to be the new host on the show." I'm like, "Okay." So I had a conversation with him on Skype, me and him, and he goes, "Listen, I'm just so fed up with all these stories about politics and Christianity and just how they want to implement a theocracy." So I'm like, "Okay." So he wanted to have a voice. So I said, "Okay, well, you're on. You're the new host." He's a really good guy. He was talking about a topic in his town, and I was just like, "Well, he just came off so well." I'm just like, "That's it. You're the new host." And then, of course, I seen Drew. I had him as Skeptic of the Week. Drew Autosci 87, and Drew's a great guy, very intelligent guy. And I said, "You know what? I would like to have 4 people on the show. Do you want to be a host, a new host on Skeptic Fence?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And we've been doing it now for almost a year together. So yeah, Coctopus been with me for a year and a half now, or a year and 3 months. So he's been doing the Cooter Report for a year and 3 months. So, but I want to change it. I want to change it. I want to get rid of any of the hosts I have right now. Those guys are just fucking great, and we feed off of each other very, very well. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, I do have to put this out there because I doubt that you remember me, but I actually hit you up for that particular spot on the Skeptic Fence Show.
Did you really?
And yeah,
Oh, I don't remember.
and I have to say, if I had to lose out to anybody, I'm glad that it was either Paul or Drew. I'm not sure which one. I guess it was Paul, but
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
didn't. Huh.
I remember emailing you, and you had me send you some videos of live stuff that I had done, and so I was just like, I figure I probably won't get it, and I mean I didn't, but I think that you guys really do have a really great chemistry on the show, so I think that the panel worked out really good. Um,
Yeah, it does. I definitely enjoy it. I mean, like, we get excited when we first start the camera. Like, when we first go live, you see us all smiling and dancing and fucking playing the music, and we're like, me, Coctopus, and Drew, and we're all fucking dancing. I mean, like, we don't post that on the internet. It's only live on Vaughn Live TV. So, but yeah, I'm like, right before we start, we're all dancing. It's fucking awesome. We start the show, we see how everybody's weeks were, and just it's great. It's great chemistry. We feed off each other very well, I think, and I think the episodes or the shows are getting better and better as we go along. So that being said, I know Dev Shell. I'm sorry, buddy.
I was about to say we got that question in there.
I would say that, but another thing, since Dev Shell's here, I'm like, what I really enjoy about the Skeptic Fence Show too is I want to be part of charity events, and we've been part of 3 charity events in the last year and a half. So one being Dev Shell's event that he does every year, which is a Madness Mayhem charity event. We did it this year, or last year, I should say, 2014. And we had a great time. It was a great time, and I appreciate Dev inviting us. It was great. We helped, contribute to the show, and we got a good amount of donations for Madness Mayhem charity. And we were also part of Doctors Without Borders that DPR Jones runs every year. And we did that for the last 2 years now. So Skeptic Fence Show. So yeah, we like doing that stuff too. I think it's great. I think it's excellent. It's for humanity. It's for Dev Show. It's researching AIDS, trying to get that vaccine. So cure. And
Well, have you guys not tapped into the vast knowledge that Steven Anderson has?
That's funny.
He's got all the answers, dude.
He seems to, yeah.
Yeah. So, what? I guess
fu-
what? Huh?
The future of the show.
Yeah. Let's get into the future of the show. Like,
Guess I could do that.
do you have like a list of people that you got coming on as guests this year already, or are you still working on that?
No, I actually confirmed. I confirmed a couple guests right now. In the past we've had a lot of awesome guests. The future of the show is I'm going to be really concentrating on. One thing I did change was implementing a co-host guest. Okay, Dark Matter's been on recently, and then I got Truth Surge next week. He's going to be our co-host, and I really do like the co-host idea. I really do. I think it's great that they come in for the news topics. They could put their 2 cents in, and it's been working out very well. I mean, like we had Aaron Raw on last week. Aaron Raw, I'm sorry. He's a great guy. He had a fun time. You know, we had a couple jokes with him, and he's really intelligent. And you know, I really love the co-host segment. But what's going to happen is that I'm going to be bringing on guests that I've had on in the last year or two. I just booked Lawrence Krauss again. He's going to be on in 3 weeks. And then David Silverman. No, I'm sorry. David Silverman's going to be on in 3 weeks. And in 5 weeks, going to be Lawrence Krauss. I could get the dates here real quick for you guys. So, yeah, on February 7th, next week, we got Truth Surge as co host. February 21st, David Silverman, pending interview date because it's going to be a pre recorded interview. But he's aboard. He said, cool, no problem. And then Lawrence Krauss gave me the thumbs up, but it's pending confirmation on the date. Like, that might be a pre recorded or it might actually be on March 7th because he's going away for a little bit for a week or two. So he said he'll be back and then we'll get into that. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having Dave Silverman and Lawrence Krauss back on the show. I think it's going to be excellent. So, and then I'm actually working on Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh my God, I've been with his booking agent like for the last fucking like 6 weeks now, 7 weeks, going back and forth. Well, he's doing this, he's doing that. We're definitely interested. I'm like, so I'm going back and forth with his booking agent, and I'm just like, oh shit. So Joe is in charge of fluffing DM's large 14-incher. Am I really? Didn't know that, Epon. I don't know, Dark Matter. Can we confirm that or deny that? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I thought Dark Matter's comments about your hair earlier was pretty good. Talking about how you can't be the devil because the devil has two horns. You only got one.
Who said that, Dark Matter?
Yeah. um, but like how do you generally go about getting these guests? Like, do you just search on the internet, or do you ask people that have had them on there before, or what do you do? I guess at this point I'm asking more for me.
No, I know, and you're not the first person that's asked me that. That's around the show. There's other people that ask me the same question. To be honest with you, I just go out there and research the person, research what their email is, research their websites, research their Facebook, friend them on Facebook, message them on Facebook, and I just show them my website. And there's just I guess you could say a script that I write up for when I do email them, and just put it out there. I do have something that I do copy and paste to all my guests to try to get them on. It's well thought out, and they like it, and it seems to work. You know what I mean? It seems to work, and we're starting to get, I guess you could say, a sort of reputation out there for hosting some awesome guests, and I just hope it continues, man. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example here. Is when we had Bart Ehrman on the show, great fucking guy, and we told him that before we went live, we're like, listen, we like to crack a few jokes. We know you're an academic. We know you're a very important person, especially when it comes to being a New Testament scholar. I was like, but we do like to crack a few jokes. He's like, oh, cool. He goes, that's fine, man. That's cool. So he's a really down-to-earth guy. Coctopus hit him with a nice joke, nice question, so I thought it was pretty cool. And he was a great guy to have on the show. And my point being is, I fucking forget what my point was going to be. But yeah, just having a person like that on is just amazing. It makes you feel good. I guess you can say, you know what I mean? That you can contact these types of people that are so well known and just have them on the show for an hour and interview. It's great. So.
Oh yeah, and I've thought about trying to get Lawrence Krauss to let me interview him because there was that ridiculous article on the Washington Post, I think it was, that he actually wrote a response to, and I thought that he wrote a really great, like, to the point response. Besides the fact that he is Lawrence Krauss, and I've actually been able to talk to him before on another show that I was kind of a part of, and there I really only got one question, but with me being an engineer myself and very scientifically minded, and basically following just about everything that he's done in the past couple years, I think that it would be really cool to get to talk to him.
He's a very down to earth guy, man. There's no doubt. He's very relaxed, and that's another thing. I know we're talking about the show here. Is that's what I tell them. I'm like, I offer a laid back environment for them where they could just lay back and just relax. It's nothing serious. We'll ask some serious questions, but we're also going to have a little fun. You know what I mean? And that's the environment I created for these guests. You know, before we go live, I tell every guest, say, listen, we're a laid back show. We ask serious questions academically and serious, personal, whatever it is. But we also like to have a good laughs, and that's why TJ does a great job on asking the hardest hitting questions. You know what I mean? I came up with a video where TJ asks the hardest hitting questions. You know what I mean? And he does a great job on that. I'm like, he did that for like, I forget what was the episode that he did it in. And he goes, I'm just going to joke around. And then after I seen the response from him, I'm like, let's keep with this. Let's keep with this. Let's make this a common occurrence with you asking the hardest hitting questions. So every time we have a guest, he always says, hey, I'm known on the show, for asking the hardest hitting questions. So I made that whole like video where he did this with all the guests. And it's a fucking great video, man. I do watch it actually often. I mean, you watch it maybe once every week, once every other week. It's just really good. And that's what people like. They like to be entertained. So I think if you put a couple jokes in there, a couple joke questions, it gets people laughing. You know what I mean? That's what it's about, man. It's not all about being serious all the time. We're human. We like to laugh. We like to have a good chuckle. So they enjoy it. I'm like, I've had these guests contact me a day or two afterwards saying, man, it was just such a great show. I love it. I'm like, okay, good. Love to have you back on again.
Yeah. Actually, you got a message from Dev Shell in there talking about getting in touch with him later for a special mission.
Yeah. Joe, hit me up later. I need to recruit you for a special mission. All right. I hope it's not going to a furry conference there, Dev Shell. Both live in New Jersey, but you're about 45 minutes away from me, so maybe it's in New York City. I don't know. Maybe we'll go. Who knows? I don't know. Never been to one.
So what about your Live Life channel? What is the 2015 year look for that?
It's a good question because I've been thinking about that recently in the last month. That's definitely coming back for 2015. There's no doubt. Actually, I might be making a video this weekend for it. So I haven't did a really solid video on that channel in about a year. It's been about a year now. But I've been posting some stuff on my, after shows and my personal Live Life channel on Vaughn Live TV. Dark Matter is usually there like 80, 90% of the time. Coctopus Prime, the other Skeptic Fence Show host. And we just sit back and relax, have a fun time, play some videos, joke around, and it's just get together with friends and just have a good time. And there's been a few times where Dark Matter would be, he would change his, his persona as somebody else. He would just come in as somebody else, like, say Ken Ham or Ken Spam. I'm sorry, Dark Matter, Ken Spam. And he came in as, Carl Sagan, and that's on my Live Life channel. And it's just those types of videos I post on my LiveLife8072 channel recently. So they're fun. I enjoy that. It's good to get along with people and just have a good laugh and just get together and just, hey, if you're bored, let's do a live show and just fuck around. And he's great at that. Dark Matter's great at that. He doesn't, not only my show, but he does on Coctopus's show, and it's just great. So it's fun. So.
So, which I don't know if you remember me, but I remember my first encounter with you actually, and how I came to start watching the Skeptic Fence Show and watching you and Coctopus a lot more. Was you had done a video about, I'm wanting to say it was about Ken Ham. I think that's what it was. But and you had showed a picture of me holding up his book.
Yes, you're right. And you did contact me on that. Yeah, you did. You said, "Oh, that's me in your video." I'm like, "Who?" And you showed. Yes, I remember that now. That was you. I didn't know that was you. Wow, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I just felt kind of stupid with it being up there because I wasn't sure if people would really get like how sarcastic I was being like in the photo, because in the photo I'm holding up
or something.
Yeah, no, I'm holding up the book and I've got my thumb up. I'm like, Yeah. I was trying to put forth this really stupid look, and I could just see people being like, "Oh, that guy's an idiot."
I remember that now. I did not. Thank you for letting me know that was you. Jeez, my fucking mind's gone. Seriously.
Yeah, I know, Joe. God damn you. I mean, I'd sent you emails trying to get on the Skeptic Fence Show, and you even had me in a video. Damn.
It's a horrible person, man. I don't know. Yeah, I've been told that by the skeptic community that I'm a horrible person, but what I say to those fucking people, fuck them. I don't give a fuck. I'm here to please them. I'm not here to tell them, oh, I'm sorry. No, fuck that. Whatever.
Getting kind of off topic from what we had been talking about, since we're kind of nearing the end of the hour. We don't have to stop at the hour, but
Okay.
uh, you know what do you think about Ted Cruz being put ahead of NASA? Or not ahead of NASA, but he's ahead of the appropriations committee, for
Yeah.
NASA.
Like I said, I seen a recent topic that just came out about him, and what's happening right now. There's a petition going around to try to stop him, of course, and just get him kicked off the committee, I guess. And I did post this on my Skeptic Fence Facebook recently. I think in the last 2 days, guys. All right, I think, yeah. So yeah, there's a petition out there. Of course, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be part of that committee. No way.
Well,
I knows nothing about fucking science. So
yeah.
why should he be part of a fucking committee that he has such a fucking confirmation bias towards? No, just get the fuck out of here. No.
Well, I think that that you definitely don't need to be the head of a scientific committee when you don't think scientifically. Like how can you really expect yourself to understand what people are fucking saying and be able to appropriate money correctly? You know,
True.
and one thing that I found was pretty funny was the fact that before he took over NASA, he was looking to actually cut budget to NASA, and then after him getting ahead of on the appropriations committee for NASA, he was just like, "Oh, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna explore shit and whatnot." And I'm like, "Don't you have a fucking layer above the earth that you've got to worry about or some shit?"
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the article here I was talking about. It's We the People, and it's basically a petition, and it already has 63,000. 63,000 signatures needed, and total signatures so far is 36,000. So basically, the title of it is "Remove Ted Cruz from Position from NASA Oversight of the Subcommittee of Space Science and Comprehensiveness." So, yeah, I'm like, yeah, definitely. I'm like, this guy's a douchebag. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm not too savvy on the topic, but I did read that article, and yeah, I agree with it. Get rid of this fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I didn't know if you were done or not. I was gonna kind of
Yeah.
shift subjects. um, well, I was gonna ask, how do you feel about Ken Ham and his quest to build this ark, and it being derailed?
Well, I did a really good video, and it's a very popular video on the ARC project. I did a lot of research on this guy, and basically, Kentucky, right? Yeah, Kentucky. Uh, Basically, what happened is it's been going on now for about 2 years now, 3 years, the ARC project. And basically, what happened is he was supposed to hit ground with this, I think last year. He never did. And basically, what's happened is he's getting all these tax breaks. He's getting millions and millions of dollars of tax breaks from Kentucky, you know, just to fucking build a fucking ark, which violates basically the U.S. Constitution. He's doing this for a religious purpose. I don't know what the current situation is going on now, but I know he's trying to get money. I know he's in debt with this project, no doubt, and it's for religious reasons. And he has this. The reason why they won't give him more tax breaks is because he will not make a promise that his employees, like he won't screen his. He's going to screen his employees to make sure that they're Catholic or Christians, not Catholic, Christians, and they're devout fundamentalist Christians that are going to work there for him. And the state said, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't discriminate against people for their religious makeup, their religious background. You just can't do it. And that's why the state of Kentucky said, we're not going to give you any more tax breaks, because he won't make that commitment. Because we know he's doing it for propaganda, Christian propaganda. Of course he is. He's pushing the envelope when it comes to creationism. So if he builds this huge fucking ark, he's going to have millions and millions of people every year to go visit, to convert them, to show them that this is what happened. This is what the ark. Get the fuck out of here, dude. There's no fucking way.
Well,
It's religious propaganda. So
one thing that has been pointed out that I find really funny is that the actual Bible part on building the ark and all the specifics for the ark is actually really, really short. I
Mm,
mean, it's not as long or as convoluted as a lot of people like to make it think,
mhm.
or make it out to be. But you see, Ken Ham is like using like a team of like 50 people to build this goddamn ark, right?
Mhm.
Noah, to my knowledge, only had himself and his family of like 4 people.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
and I find it pretty hilarious that he is having to like get a whole bunch of contractors in there and get all of this help in there to build it when theoretically he's nowhere near 500 years old. He should be able to bang this out in a weekend, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. With God's divine, inspiration, I should say. But dark matter. We say, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused here because I was going to go up to DPR's comment here. DPR said, "I contribute to Ken Ham's project if he promised to make an ark that floated on water." I'll fucking agree with that, DPR. But yeah, that'd be the great thing. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we'll give you money, we'll give you tax breaks, but you have to build this fucking ark on water so people could see that it actually does float. And I think that'd be great. And
Yeah.
Dark Matter said he seriously thinks that if Christians can't get tax breaks for amusement parks, stop moving the chat here, that discriminate, then it's persecution of Christians. It's just like being fed to lions. That's a
Well,
good one. I
yeah.
like. But yeah, it's exactly. Bill. I mean, like Ken Ham will claim Christian persecution or being persecuted that he's not getting money or he's not getting a tax breaks. He feels that he's obligated to, that he feels he's entitled to. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, dude. You're not. You're not. You got enough tax breaks as it is to try to build this fucking ark, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'd have to say so.
Yeah, all the taxpayer money going for fucking Christian propaganda, dude. I'm like, I know there's people in Kentucky that are fucking outraged by it, but yeah, it is what it is, dude. This is what we get when you have people in office that are elected into this position where they say, yeah, sure, yeah, dude, fucking yeah, here's taxpayer money to build your fucking ark. What the fuck?
Well,
Whatever.
before we change subject, real quick, I was gonna mention that it was actually Dan Arl. I don't know if you're familiar with his writing, but Dan Arl, he was actually the one that kind of did his own little investigation into the Ark Park and the Creation Museum, and what he found was that they were hiring through the Creation Museum for the art park. So in that way they could discriminate because the Creation Museum, I believe is like a nonprofit organization or something like that. But it's an organization where they could discriminate. They could only hire Christians. And with the art park, he's wanting to make money off of it because it's a theme park, it's not non-profit. And so what he did was he put up ads for the art park, like job promotions and whatnot, on the Creation Museum website, and they're officially hired through the Creation Museum, but they're going to work at the art park. So it was in that way that he was trying to game the system so that he could get the tax breaks while still also discriminating against who gets hired at the art park.
Yeah, like of course we're all against this shit, and of course people in Kentucky, the religious out there, are just fucking stupid. You know,
Yeah.
it's just pretty bad that these people, these fundies out there, don't understand what separation of church and state mean. They just don't fucking get it. They feel this is a Christian nation. It's far from it. Our founding fathers didn't want that whatsoever. We
Yeah,
want
I immediately start laughing my ass off whenever somebody starts spouting off how, oh, we're one nation under God. Because it's like, and then I actually had somebody today tell me that I was completely wrong on the fact that one nation under God was added in 1950. Well, not exactly 1950, but the 1950s, that decade.
it
Um,
was 52, I think it was
yeah.
52. I think it's
But
50.
I mean, these people are just so helplessly connected and have to be this whole, oh, America's a Christian nation kind of deal that they'll go to any lengths, it seems, to stay in that.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Look at Bellamy with Pledge of Allegiance, same thing. It was changed what 3 times
Yeah.
since its original form, and they added under God in it. You know what I mean? And back then in school, how you had to do the Pledge of Allegiance back then? You had to put your hand up like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Nazi salute.
Nazi salute. Yeah, that's what you had to do back then. It was called the Bellamy salute, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, people just don't get that. I mean, like, they don't care about history. They just care about the here and now. They just care about their religion. That's all it is. They wear their religion on their sleeve, man. Especially
Yeah.
when it comes to voting. You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck. They don't care about equality. They don't care about human solidarity. They just care about Christianity. That's all they fucking care about. And this is what we got to fight. Are these types of fucking people.
Yeah. Well,
And it's getting better. It's getting better. I mean, we see the religious demographic dropping. We see the secular, non-affiliated demographic rising. I'm like, we're at like 20%. I think the latest poll was a couple years ago. 20% is non-affiliated. Atheism's at 5%. Just I think 2005 was only 1%. Now we're at 5% atheism and non-affiliated. No religious affiliations, 20%. I'll take that any day. Religiosity is it's down to what 76%, I think 75%. So good, it's going down. So guess what? We're doing our job, and all the activists out there are doing their job. I think so, and I think it's demographic. Or not demographic. I think it's generational. I think as you see these older people die off, these fundies out there, devout religious out there, you're going to see our generation right after us, and after that, you're going to see the numbers fall. You're going to see the religious fall. You're going to see the secularism, non-affiliated atheism go up. Look at all the other countries out there that are basically, Sweden now is above well over 50% atheist.
yeah.
Look, all the secular community or the secular countries out there, they don't have no problems. You don't see them in fucking war. You don't see them discriminating against gays or discriminating against women's reproductive rights or women's rights. You don't see that shit in the real secular countries. You don't see that shit. You don't see any of that shit. You don't see any kind of oppression. You don't see it. Only here in fucking America.
Yeah. This is so insane.
Not only here in America, but I'm just saying, if we want to compare it to America. And we're supposed to be the home, we're supposed to have all these fucking freedoms, but we have the highest incarceration rate out of any country. It's just sickening. So we'll get there, hopefully.
Well, and kind of going back to the stats that you mentioned, I think that is a pretty clear indication, that it is generational, because of the fact that of how I've been having these conversations with people about how they've come into their atheism, and it really does seem like it does take a while. Nobody flips like a light switch. Now, but me personally, I flipped like a light switch when it came to either accepting or not accepting the Christian God. But it took a whole lot longer for me to actually acknowledge the fact that I didn't believe in a God, So
Yeah.
with the fact that the non-affiliated has risen to like 20%, like you had said, I think that as people move out of these organized churches and whatnot, and quit having people really coach them on what they should be paying attention to in the Bible and in their faith, and really take an honest, hard look at their faith and what it's doing in society now, like them being out of the church versus people that are still in the church. I think that we'll continue to see that number rise.
No. That's definitely what's going to happen in my submission. But what it boils down to is we see between 35 to 4,000 churches close a year. That's just a fact. You can look at the statistics. I know these statistics, and that's basically what it boils down to. They're just closing one by one. Locally here in my town, there's 2 Catholic churches that closed down a few years ago and combined into one church. And my church, my mom goes to, and she always says, "Yeah, it's packed. It's packed. It's packed." Well, yeah, it's packed because you combined, 3 congregations into one. Of course, it's gonna be packed because two churches closed down, and you're seeing this. This is becoming commonplace now in society, in local communities where churches are just closing. Granted, yeah, there's smaller ones open, and you have your mega churches, of course. I understand that, but yeah, it is generational. There's no doubt. It's definitely generational, and what it boils down to is my goal is to target the moderates out there, and you got also. Let me back up a little bit when you talk about the statistics there. When you say 20% is non-affiliated, you got to remember there's a lot of people still in the closet. There's a lot of people that just don't believe this bullshit. There's a lot of people, but they're afraid to come out. They're afraid to say, "Hey, I'm a non-believer." They're afraid. That's just a fucking fact. And I know a lot of people that are still in the closet that just don't want to come out. I mean, like on my personal Facebook, I talk to people all the time. Like, yeah, I'm an atheist. Well, how come you don't promote on your Facebook? Oh, no, my family, they'll get pissed off at me. I don't believe in that God bullshit. I don't believe in Christianity. There's a lot of people still in the closet that won't come out saying, "Yeah, I'm a secularist. I'm a non-believer." There's just a lot of people. I think you could probably add another 10% on that fucking demographic. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I think that a lot of people are on that fringe of clinging on to it, like they that they don't accept the bullshit that they're hearing, but at the same
Mm.
time, there's that stigma of not believing, especially being in the South here. I don't know if you know, but I live in North Alabama, um, and
Well,
down.
I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I get that a lot. um, but around here, which I know that it's prevalent in a lot of other areas of the country, but if you're not part of some kind of religious congregation, or if you're not a part of some kind of religious organization, then you're really seen as an outcast, and you're not really.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so that means less friends and whatnot. Because I mean, that's really why I went to church when I was a kid, and why I tried so many times to force myself back into the faith, is
Mm.
because of this social acceptance of religion, and the non-acceptance of not believing. Um,
And it's social suicide when you do come out.
yeah,
You lose friends, you lose family. It just and it's bad. Like you said, there's a lot of people still in the fucking closet, especially in the South, because it's social suicide. You're gonna have friends that hate you. You'll get picked on, beat on, especially if you're a younger kid. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead.
oh no, no, that's fine. Um, but ah, crap,
I
I
made you
totally
lose
blinked
your.
out again. Yeah.
I know. I fucked you up, man.
Yeah, I know. And
Good.
we're
That shit, dude. Trust me.
we're live and everything, and I'm fucking up left and right.
No, you're
Goddamn.
fine. Dude. You're doing a fucking excellent job, dude. I fucking
Yeah,
love it. Trust me. I'm having a good time.
great.
But
I'm glad.
yeah, yeah, man. It's just it's social suicide, and it's like there's a lot of people, and a lot of people are closet atheists. They're probably fans of ours. There's probably
Yeah,
people that are subscribed to us that don't comment too much, and just they just like our videos. They keep it secret, and uh, they use their critical thinking skills. They question their Bible and they look into it. That's what
yeah,
we're here to do. We're here to promote free thinking.
yeah. Well, actually, I
Hashtag-
remember. I remember what I was gonna say. The reason why I started being more visual, I guess, with doing videos and whatnot, is because I had a lot of Christians that would come at me and be like, "Oh, it's easy to say this stuff from behind a Facebook page." Kind of deal. And so I was like, that doesn't matter. And so I was like, well, I felt like it was like just the next step for me as far as my activism goes and really standing up. And plus, with me being in North Alabama, I felt like, showing, other people that, to not be afraid, to stand up, and sharing my experiences with that. It was very important to people, or at least it could be. And so far, it seems to be, at least in a little bit. Uh,
No. I agree with you, no doubt. And Ryan's right, dude. I pull that shit when I forget when I forget what I'm saying. Yeah, it happens. We all do that. So no, I do the same thing like you do. I'm like, oh shit, what was I gonna say? Oh fuck. It's like, I gotta get. I've sort of got used to that because TJ, whole fucking like, he's like me, interrupting. Just it's not really interrupting. It's just basically just trying to put a point out there on a point that somebody else made, and it happens all the time. So, but yeah, man. I just, it's why we're here, man. Religion is just fucking evil, man. Does more harm than good. And bring up a quote by. It's one of my favorite quotes is Steven Weinberg. He just basically says, good people do good things, bad people do bad things, and if you want a good person to do evil, wicked things, that takes fucking religion, man.
yeah,
There's a lot of truth to that fucking shit too.
yeah.
Trust me.
It's really odd that you bring that up, because I actually brought that quote up earlier when I was talking to Ryan,
Mhm.
the same Ryan that's in the chat right now.
Oh, cool.
Um, Yeah, and that by far is one of my most favorite quotes, because it so hits it very concisely as to the problem that I have with religion. Because, and I've said this a few times in my videos, is that, if you're going to be an asshole, you're going to be an asshole. It's not going to matter if you believe in Jesus or
Mhm.
Muhammad or anything. If you're going to be an asshole, you're going to be an asshole. Uh,
Yeah.
and a lot of Christians like to act like, well, you got to have God in order to be good. But then, of course, when you bring up bad shit that Christians do, they're like, well, free will and
Well, they
fuck off. Can we change subjects?
yeah, exactly what it is, dude. They just it's exactly what they do. They try to drop the subject. When you have a valid point and you have a conversation with these theists, that's why I don't entertain the theist anymore, man. I did years ago. Actually, it's been about a year now since I entertained any theist, at least on the internet, I should say, or on videos, I should say. But I'll bring one in. I'll bring a theist in once in a blue moon on my private show. It's not recorded. I do record it, but I don't post on the internet. And it's just entertaining sometimes to have them on and just see how hateful they are, man, how intolerant these fucking people are. And they still are. They will always be intolerant and hateful, and they claim we're intolerant and hateful, but no, we're not. You're allowed to have your fucking right. You're allowed to go to church. You're allowed to preach it on the street corner. You're allowed to have this, but you don't have the right to tell my kids that they have to be taught fucking creationism in the school. You have no right. You have no right to tell me that a law has to be made, to ratify a fucking a law in the book or a biblical law in the book. No, we're not going to implement any kind of biblical law. You know what I mean? Because this is what they want to do. They want to create a theocracy. And when you bring up that point that they want to create a theocracy, oh no, we don't. We're all about equality. No, you're not. No, you're not. Any fucking intelligent, smart person that has any kind of minimal fucking intellect will fucking know that they're fucking spewing bullshit. But then again, people are confirmation biased. They'll fucking just say, "Oh well, yeah, this guy's speaking truth." Oh no, he's not. He's fucking wrong. So
Yeah, I love it how in the theist or Christian community, because we're in America and they're the loudest motherfuckers out there, um,
Mhm.
they like to, they like to totally dismiss other Christians. When it comes to things like that, like pointing out how, well, yes, Christians do want a theocracy in America. Then they're like, oh well, I think he's wrong about that, and that's just they act like it's a fringe thing when it's really not, because there's a lot of politicians that are actually in power right now that are crazy as fuck when it comes to religion. Uh, like you mentioned Klingenschmidt or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, Gordon
Or
Klingspell
yeah,
is just a douchebag.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just the pure fact that he won out, and the only way that I can really rationalize why that crazy motherfucker won is
That'd be-
that he was the only one running, and he was either run unopposed or he was run or the other guy just had to been crazier. I don't know how that's possible. But here, like on my ballots, you could mark all Democrat or mark all Republican, and like if you marked all Democrat and there wasn't a Democrat in the category, well then your vote, like I guess it just didn't count. So like everybody that marked Democrat, of course, or Republican, of course, voted for that one particular person. So it's kind of like, oh, they won by a landslide. Yeah, because nobody else fucking voted.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think it was only like 40% of the people midterm showed up to vote. And it was basically a push by the conservative right. So, yeah, you get what you get. I mean, like midterms are like that. But guess what? In 2016, trust me, it's going to be a big fucking difference, man. I'm going to be pushing that hard on the Skeptic Fence Show, no doubt. Trust me. And trust me, I'm going to bring up all the insanity as the elections go on, as the campaigns go on. Oh, fucking right, we will. We're going to be hitting that shit in our politics.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is what it is, But you got to remember. And at one point, I want to bring up while you were talking is you got a lot of modern Christians out there that don't like the Pat Robertsons, that don't like the Klingenschmidts, that don't like the fucking Michelle Bachmans, all these fucking fundy politicians out there. Okay, they don't like them, they don't support them, right? But they're still Christian inside, right? They're for the gay rights, they're for this, but they need to fucking realize this. And I'm not trying to demean anybody or anything like this. You're not a fucking Christian. you're not a fucking Christian. If you want to hold on to your faith, being, hey, listen, there's an afterlife possible. I'm gonna adhere to the Pascal wager. Whatever. Well, you're just being disingenuous. You're basically saying, well, you know what? Yeah, I don't believe that shit, but Pascal's wager, yeah, I'll just lie about my fucking Christianity. I'll lie. I'll lie. It's basically what you're doing. You're fucking lying to yourself. That's basically what you're doing. If you want to adhere to this, Pascal's wager, you're just lying to your fucking self, and you're killing society to a certain point. But you got to remember, the Christians out there, you need to realize that you, the people like Westboro Baptist Church and the Klingenschmidt and the Pat Robertsons, they're more fucking Christian than you. You know what I mean? You okay. You have your Jesus, and what Jesus was all about, good kindness, which he wasn't. We see the atrocities Jesus fucking committed and what he said, all his parables, whatever. You can look into that shit. It's all fucking bullshit. It's still fucking. I mean, like the New Testament is just as evil as the fucking Old Testament. Hate to bring it up to you Christians, but it is. Go read the fucking book. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I'm like just these modern Christians. You're not really a Christian. You're just a closeted fucking secularist. That's basically what the fuck you are. So.
Yeah. Before before we start to head out here.
These people fear fucking death. That's another reason why people. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's another reason why people adhere to their fucking religion is because they're afraid of death. They think they're gonna visit their grandparents, their mother and father in heaven. Guess what? You have the right to do so, but guess what? You're just hurting fucking society in the long run. I feel, for the most part. God, I'm sorry, God.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just gonna say. I was going to ask another question, but interesting that you bring that up because I'm trying to get this sociobiologist, I think it's E.O. Williams, maybe. He just recently put out an article talking about how religion is killing our society by like a death by 1,000 cuts kind of deal. And he's got some really interesting, like he's not atheist or agnostic, or he doesn't consider himself agnostic himself or anything like that. I think he's more deist, I guess, but he does acknowledge like the social impacts that religion has, and I'm really hoping that I can convince him to come on and let me interview him.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, to be honest with you, Christians are fucking agnostic too. They are. They, like it or not, you are. you have no verifiable fucking proof. You don't have no empirical evidence to prove that a God exists. So you're just believing on faith. That's all you're doing. So you're basically agnostic.
Yeah.
You are.
Well, what is there any certain like Christian argument that you've
when it comes to the
encountered?
knowledge, I should say. What's that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there any certain Christian argument that you've come across that really just makes you want to like punch a wall or something?
Yeah, the presuppositional argument. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
Oh,
fucking
God.
insane. Just like they rely that one of their premises is that everybody knows God. God's in your heart. Everybody has this. Everybody has this feeling. Everybody knows that God's real. So it's just ridiculous. It's just like, no, it's not. Because if I did, I wouldn't be an atheist right now. I wouldn't be questioning the Bible. So, well, you're not allowed to question the Bible, but I question it anyway. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? They can spew that shit all they want. I debated Side 10 Brooding Kate, 2 years ago. And he's just a douchebag. I backed him in the corner, and he just couldn't get out of it. And he kept on saying, well, how do you know that's true? How do you know that's true? Are you absolutely sure? Are you absolutely sure about that? Are you absolutely sure? And I backed him in a fucking corner where he just couldn't get out of it. He just couldn't get out of it. Because I went with this concept of like me negation made up this thing called I forget the name of it, but basically like well, Si, how do you know you're not part of a computer simulation? How do you know you're not part of a computer construct? You don't know. How do you know that? And I got him to admit that God's an outside source. I said, is God an outside source? So he said, yeah, God's an outside source. I'm like, okay, well, thank you for admitting that. So God's really not in your heart, so he's an outside source. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Well, God's an outside source. Well, yeah, he is. Okay, that's all I need to know, Si. Well, how do you know that we're not part of this computer construct, that your computer construct is telling you what to believe and telling me what to believe, okay? So how do you know, since your God's an outside source, how do you know he's not fucking with you? This outside source, that this computer construct's fucking with your fucking head. You don't know this, Si. And that's what it boils down when it comes to the computer construct idea. The brain in the vat idea. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So.
Yeah.
Once he admitted that God was outside source, he was pretty much fucking done. So. I think. a lot of people disagree with me, of course, but that's what I think. That's my own personal opinion. So, but
Yeah. Uh, no. Yeah. I had one interaction with Side10 Bruggencate before his debate with Matt Dillahunty, and then I was actually at the debate with Matt Dillahunty and Side10. And just there, it just astounds me, like, hearing him reason anything, because there's like no reason in it at all.
yeah,
Uh,
he goes by a script. He goes by a script.
yeah. And I mean, he goes by a script so well that Matt Dillahunty was able to write his rebuttals to everything that he would say. I mean, I can just imagine Matt Dillahunty's computer had just like Word documents with
Yeah.
argument names for the titles, and he's just like, okay, boop boop, that one.
Yeah, Matt did a very good job in that debate. I got to admit, it's probably one of the best debates I've seen in a while. I'm like, he hit the nail on the head on like everything to rebut what the fuck Saitan was fucking saying, and he did a wonderful job doing so. There's no fucking doubt. So, yeah, I just talked to Matt. Was it a couple weeks ago? I'm trying to get him back on the show, but yeah, Matt's a fucking awesome guy. I like him. He's a little extreme, I think, but a lot of people like that. They like his. I compare him sort of the Coctopus Prime, like the straight, upfront approach. You know what I mean? Real like straight at it. He just comes straight up front and just tells what just says what he feels. I think that's a great aspect of Matt and TJ. So yeah, the upfront approach. Be a fucking dick, but do it in a nice way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people have characterized my approach, which I don't know if it's similar to theirs or whatnot, but as being kind of dickish, I guess. Just because I'm not afraid to pull out some of the more hard hitting cards or
Yeah.
whatnot. Like in several conversations through my Facebook page, like people have come on there trying to justify a belief in God, or asking me why I believe in God or whatnot. And we get into this discussion, and free will gets brought up or whatever, and as an explanation as to why there's evil in the world or some shit like that, right? Well, um, I usually try to back them into the corner with really rationalizing, child rape and
Mm.
pedophilia and whatnot, because they like to use this free will, but even in the Bible, it's so convoluted as to this idea of free will that, I mean, you can make an argument, to where that it gets to the point where they're just like, no, pedophilia is not okay and it's not in God's plan. I'm like, okay, well, why is it not? Because I just perfectly reasoned why it should be, so
Yeah.
so why is it not? And on the rare occasion, I do get somebody that says, well, yes, God does plan for the rape of children. And at that point, it's just like, fuck it, I'm done with you. You can just go and fuck off.
Exactly. And I want to bring up a quote from Hitchens, which was pretty funny. Somebody asked him in an interview, like, do you believe in free will? And Hitchens basically just said, well, yeah, because I have no other choice but to believe in free will. And he's just like, of course. So, yeah, I have no choice but to believe that I have free will. And I thought it was pretty funny. He did it. Christopher Hitchens was one of the best, man. That motherfucker was. I love it. I still listen to his videos. Like, I swear, like every night. I have this like playlist I had. And I just fucking listen to it every fucking night, man. Dude's fucking
Yeah,
spectacular.
I've got
We lost a really good fucking dude there, man. So Reason Rally 2 is happening. Yes, I will be there in 2016. That's a fact. I went to the first one, had a good time, and I will be at the second one. So yeah.
I didn't realize they were doing another Reason rally.
Yeah, they predicted like a year ago it was probably going to be 2016, but I think they finally sort of confirmed it. So Reason Rally, oh my god, it was such a good. I wish I could. I wish I stayed for the after party, like all the bars. Everybody went to the bars and shit. I was hanging out with DPR Jones the whole time. I think, yeah, probably the whole time, and we had a good time. So yeah, I wish I stayed at a hotel and just booked a hotel down there and just stayed there and just hung out with everybody. So, but this time I definitely will. I would definitely make plans to get a hotel room and just fucking, yeah, all details of Reason Rally 2 and plan and stage. Good, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, yep.
Kind of going back to the beginning of the interview tonight, sort of. Did you while you were in the faith, and did you ever find yourself like forcing yourself to be there? Because like I said before, me personally, I had I had kind of intermittently forced myself to go back to church in order to be a good Christian boy. And this was actually the question that I blanked out on earlier. I'm just wondering if you ever if you ever found yourself like trying to force yourself to go back to church and be this, a proper Christian or whatever.
No, I never. To be honest with you, I never went through that stage. To be honest with you, never did because, like I said, I grew up in a very moderate, I guess you could say, Catholic household. Like I said, my mom never indoctrinated us. Never said we had to do this. Never said we had to do that. But we did have to go to church. So when it came to faith, I mean, like seriously, I never really thought about faith because, like I said, I had to go to church till I was 16 years old. I don't know if I said that earlier, which I don't think I did. I had to go to church until I was 16 years old. By the time I hit 17, I didn't go to church anymore. I was into cars, girls, all that shit, dude. So it's like from 17 to 21, I didn't go to church. I'm like I might have won on like the holidays and shit like that, but other than that, I really didn't have a I guess you could say a crisis on faith. I didn't go through that. I didn't have that crisis. I didn't think about my faith or probably back then. I even probably didn't even know what the fuck faith was. To be honest with you, I'll be totally truly. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I even fucking thought about what faith is or what. Yeah, I didn't. I don't think. To be
Well,
honest
yeah, I
with
mean, the way that I describe it is that it was just like that was the reality of
you.
it, right? Because I had like my parents telling me that God exists and the Bible's true, and then of course I went to a private Christian or Catholic school, and so they were telling
Yeah.
we had specific religion classes that we would go to where they'd spin all this bullshit, and so it's just like it was just kind of like a common knowledge, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
for me, and so I didn't even question. Like there were times when the times when I had to, I felt like I had to force myself to go back to church or whatnot. Were times when it's not like I started questioning my faith or anything like that, but it was more like I felt guilty. Like there was just this massive amount of guilt on me.
Well,
Um,
that's one of the things. I don't mean to cut you off there. Is that's one of the issues that Christians have is the guilt factor and the issue with pain and suffering in the world. That's the two main reasons why Christians. I researched deconversions a lot actually, read a lot of books on it, and because of my ex-wife, she was in her deconversion process, and her parents grabbed her back and into it. And I said, fuck it. So I started researching all these claims on deconversions. Evidence came out with a good series, spot on it series, by the way. So if you don't know who Evidence is, go check them out. It's spelled the E's are spelled with threes. Great fucking guy, and he was spot on. It's one of the first videos I watched on deconversion, and I start researching from here on out. And I talked to a lot of people about their deconversion stages, and deconversions. There are the two main issues: is the issue with forgiveness and the issue with the pain and suffering in the world. They couldn't get past that, and that's when they start questioning the Bible. And with deconversions, people need to realize. I got a little argument with an atheist online maybe about a year ago about deconversions. I made a statement like deconversions, if you're a fundamentalist or a devout Christian, okay, you were indoctrinated. The deconversion process, you might not know it's happening, but the deconversion process takes years. It doesn't take a week. It doesn't take a month, 2 months, 3 months. If you're a devout fundamentalist Christian and you're indoctrinated, it takes fucking years. It takes a year, 2 years, 3 years. It takes a long time. And in the beginning, you don't even know what's fucking happening. You tend not to go to church as often. You don't read your Bible as often. You have friends that are either atheists or secularists or people that are just moderate Christians. You mingle with those people that don't go to church only on holidays or just once a week. They mingle with these types of people, and they just don't go to church. Well, that's the beginning stages of deconversions, especially when they start questioning their faith. And then it goes on, and it takes years, 2 years, 3 years. It takes a long time. Well, I had this one atheist person go, I was a devout fundamentalist Christian, and I had an epiphany. No, I'm sorry, that doesn't fucking happen. You might have been deconverting over the years, and then you had this epiphany, like, oh, this is just bullshit all of a sudden. No, but it takes years, and that's proven. A lot of psychiatrists actually look at this. And I had Andrew Newberg on the show. We talked about it a little bit. It just doesn't happen. It's not like a fucking light switch, man. Maybe if somebody's a moderate Christian like me, I'll read the Bible. I wasn't indoctrinated. I wasn't feared into this eternal damnation. I didn't have to deal with that fucking shit. So for me, it was a lot easier. It's a lot easier for me to question religion and my religion, my Catholicism. Being a Catholic, read the Bible, said it's bullshit. Looked at a few topics, online, just seeing all the pain and suffering going on in the world. That was actually part of mine. And this is bullshit. I'm an atheist, agnostic atheist. I still am an agnostic atheist. So, agnostic knowledge claim and atheist, of course, is my belief. So,
Yeah,
it is what, and people need to realize that deconversions aren't like that.
yeah, yeah. It really aggravates me to no end when people misuse those terms. Um, the echo. There's an echo.
No.
Any. Okay. But oh fuck, what was I saying?
Bro, write down some notes as you're going along. Trust me, it
Yeah,
helps. If
yeah,
anything I can recommend to you is write down notes. It fucking actually works. Trust me, I got to do it all the time.
yeah.
Definitely
Uh,
work.
crap, I totally blanked out. Because of the echo thing. Anyways, well, we're about 5 minutes past what we normally run. Anyways, but so do you want to let people know about all your links and everything like that, or where to find you and whatnot?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, in closing here, I just want to give you a big, huge shout out and thank you for having me on the show tonight. So everybody, go support it. If you came here for me and to check out the interview, please go support Godless Engineer and also Secular TV here. Hit the subscribe button right there. Just clicky click right below the video. Support him. He's a good dude. I had him as Skeptic of the Week last week. He's a good dude, and he actually interviewed TJ a couple weeks ago. So he's a good dude. And just to let you know, I'm going to start I'm thinking about this now. I'm thinking about. I'll throw this past you. Is I'm going to be starting some kind of networking or a network page on the Skeptic Fence Show website. I just revamped the whole website. It's live now, so it's skepticfence.com. Go check it out. We have all our social media links up there, so you guys get to click, follow, Skeptic Fence on Twitter. Tabs are right there. You just click it. And, Facebook, no, not Facebook, YouTube's up top, I think, on the new design. Yeah, you just click the YouTube logo up top, and you can go rate and subscribe to us on that. So it's skepticfence.com. And I'd like to have you a part of this network that I'm creating, which is basically going to be shows that we enjoy. Skeptic Fence Show. And we're going to basically do like a Skeptic Fence Show or Skeptic Fence network, and then put a couple shows on there that we like that don't interfere with each other. Of course, like if you do this like on a Friday, of course, we'll put it up there, promote you, and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to be a good idea. So you're more than welcome to be part of it.
Oh, you don't know how awesome I find that to be.
Well, thank you. It's something I've been contemplating in the last couple weeks. So. And I want to thank all the supporters out there that came and watched me tonight. You guys fucking rock. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys learned something about me. Who knows? Maybe you did. Maybe you did.
Yeah,
But
and I just want to apologize for one not writing down any notes while I'm talking and for blanking out so many times.
hey, dude, don't worry. I bust balls, so get used to it. So.
Yeah.
No, but sorry, I'm a little incoherent. I just worked a 60-hour week, and I'm just like I've been up since 5 o'clock. I had 2 beers a night, and I'm just like really whipped. So at the end of this, I was probably a little incoherent because I'm just really tired and stuttering. But I'm just really worn out. I was going to do a little after show after this, but I'm just too tired. I can't do it. I'm tired. I gotta get up early. So, but yeah, you guys fucking rock, man, and you rock GE. I do appreciate it, and Secular TV, and all you guys that showed up tonight, man. Guys, fucking rock, man.
Yeah, and trust me, you don't know how much it means that you giving me the shout out like that.
Dude, no, anytime, man. You do good shit, man. I've been watching your videos in the last week or two, so yeah, man, definitely, man. Keep it up, man. You're doing a great job, man. So.
All right, thanks. Yeah, and actually, I had somebody else that was on this Secular TV channel here remind me that I was talking about the differences in agnostic and atheist, and just to go back to that to finish my thought.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you're gonna say. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it aggravates me to no end when people misuse those terms, and then when you try to correct them. When you try to correct them, they get so mad and they're like, "Don't tell me how to use words." That's one thing that I get a lot.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
No, exactly. And it's just like, I thought I was die-hard atheist to end on this note is, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm an atheist. I'm not an agnostic, and I looked into those claims about 2 years ago. I'm just like, oh, you know what? You do. And that's what's great about being, a critical thinker, a free thinker. You just want to look into these claims, these definitions, and don't get me wrong. There's an issue with definitions. There's some people say, well, how are you going to define atheism? How are you going to define agnosticism? Okay, I understand. Okay, if you want to go over that, then we just pick the fucking Wikipedia fucking definition or whatever the fucking definition want to use. But yeah, you get into that when it comes to debates. So, but one's a knowledge claim, one's a belief claim. Okay, it is what it is. So,
yeah.
in short, so
Well, Godless Engineer, or John Gleason, if you came here from the Godless Engineer page, um, please, go to LiveLife8072 on YouTube, as well as Skeptic Fence. You'll be able to find all of Joe's videos, as well as guest spotlights from Skeptic Fence Show, and as well as many other things. And they're just doing an awesome job on the show, as well as on Joe's personal channel. At least when you had been posting the
yeah, well,
videos regularly.
yeah.
But just all around, Joe, you've just, I think that you're a very positive force in our community. So,
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm a changed man in the last fucking year. So hopefully it shows.
well, if there's anything that I can do to help you out with
Absolutely, man.
with the network, you just let me
Mm.
know, and I'm there for you.
No, absolutely, man. I'm going to work on it probably this weekend and get your viewpoints on it, and just add you guys and look into some other shows that I'm really that I really like the Magic Sandwich Show. I'm sure I'll talk to DPR, get him involved and shit like that. So, yeah, man. Thanks, man, and I appreciate you inviting me tonight and interviewing me, man. It was fun. I liked it. I've really had a good time. So,
Awesome. But anyways, everybody that is watching, I hope you guys have a really great night, and I guess I'll be seeing you guys next week.
all right,
So,
G. Thanks a lot, man.
yep.
Later.